this lesson is about the flourish in the HS 32278. It's a house book, effectively a notebook, dated from roughly the end of the 1300s, 1389. And in this house book, in this notebook, there are all kinds of bits of information. Some of it about sword fighting, some of it about alchemy, astronomy, mathematics, various bits and pieces. But the section on longsword fencing is often attributed to Keith Döbringer. So it's not quite right. Döbringer was one of the four people who contributed towards the additional section of longsword stuff towards the end of the book. So he might just have been the scribe, he might have been one of the authors, but he certainly was not the whole author. So, for the purpose of this lesson, because numbers are difficult, I don't like numbers that much, I'm going to call it the Codex Döbringer, because most people recognise it as something to do with him. So, the flourish is something that it says that before you come against your opponent in play fighting or when you're fighting for earnest, it's quite nice to do this flourish. It doesn't say why it's a good idea to do this flourish, it just says it is a good idea. And the way it describes the flourish is not very detailed. What it says is you start with the point towards the ground in front of you, you then do the barrier guard, the shrine cut on both sides, you do the plough on both sides, the ox on both sides, and then finally the tver, or the cross strike, on both sides. It does not say always do left first and then right, or right first then left. It does not give an order to how you do the different positions. So because of that, we have a little bit of freedom to play with it and just see what we come up with. So, I've got a couple of interpretations of the flourish, just sequences made by the different guard positions, and I also have a set of, well, ways you can use these sequences against opponents. So, to start with, if you want to put your masks to the side, you won't need them just right at the moment, and just take some space facing this way. Here, fantastic. Here, fantastic. Here, fantastic. Doesn't really bother me. Just as long as you come to here and cut. Okay? So, in terms of the footwork, step forward with the right, step out to the side with the left. So just try that a few times. On you go. The ground in front of us. Turn the pummel. Cut to the shrine cut on the right. Turn it so the flat is facing out. Move across the shrine cut on the left. Just try that a few times. Cross the wrists and come with the short edge down. So, here and uncross. Just try that from here, uncross. So you're just bringing the short edge round from here, almost as if you're striking with it. So, add it into the sequence, the whole thing. Cut the ground in front of you, cut to the shrine cut, other shrine cut, plough. Again. So the whole thing, cut the ground in front of you, cut to the shrine cut, other shrine cut, plough, thrust, plough. So just try that a few times. Shrine cut, plough, thrust, plough, ox, thrust, ox. from ox, thrust, ox. We're going to step off to the left, land the cross strike with long edge, then we're going to keep going left. Step out further to the left, and land the short edge. So, you might normally do the serral as here and here. That's cool. But you can also do it in the same direction. Here, here. So, we're just practicing and training a new skill in this part of flourish. So, the whole thing, cut to ground, shrine cut, other shrine cut, plough, thrust plough, ox, thrust ox, off to left, cross strike with the long edge, and further to the left, cross strike with the short edge. Again, cut, shrine cut, plough, thrust plough, ox, thrust ox, cross strike, other cross strike. I have to stress, this is just one way of doing the flourish. Because it is not very precise in terms of which side you do things on, you can pretty much interpret it as you want. So, with this particular interpretation, it allows us to practice a series of skills, tricks, techniques, and various kinds of engagements. So, Marcus, I know your name. So, how do we use this flourish in practice? Well, we're both standing here in contact. I have a few options with how I can get my sword to the ground in front of me. I can throw a big strike and try and hit him here, but this particular codex warns against big motions. It says that if you throw big strikes, the other person can hit your arms. So, I don't want to throw a long strike to his head. I could try and hit his hands, but even so, it's not quite what I'm looking to do. Instead, I'm going to be sneaky. I'm going to throw a very short strike in front of him. I'm going to tempt him to do something about it. So, I throw my strike. All you do is you simply throw a Nachreisen afterwards. Okay? So I strike to here, he throws Nachreisen afterwards. I want him to do that. If he does that, crumple across the wrists. And because I'm keeping my hands nice and close to me, there is no chance for him to hit me in the hands. Whereas if I were to try and attack like so to him, my hands are open. So, with a partner, you'll want your masks on just in case this goes wrong. You want your gloves on just in case the strike lands. The attacker cuts short. The defender cuts after. And the attacker comes round and lands a short edge crumple onto the hands. As you begin to become more fluent with this, just try and make it a smoother and more flowing action. So it looks like this. Just present the temptation, and as he takes the temptation, come round and crump on his hands. So, take a partner, just try that. If you're having difficulty, way back. What am I doing with my feet? Marcus, if I can borrow you again. So, I start off by taking a small step with my right leg. I'm not trying to hit him with this. The reason I'm not trying to hit him is because we're both here, we're both ready, we're just too far away. I I cannot guarantee my safety if I throw myself in at him. It gives him time to react to me. So I don't take a big step, I just make a small motion. Here. I take myself to within the distance where he will react to me. It's just a small step here. The next part, I push off from this leg and leap out to the left. I go as far as I can. If I do not go very far, I get hit anyway. So you want to take a bit of a leap, a bit of a spring, far enough away, your leg is no longer in danger. So here, short step, leap. And I've got the option of taking his hands, his arm, his head, something in here. If I take a spring, or a leap to the side, I've got a lot of good options. If I stay too close to him, options are not good. So, other thing is, where should your hands be when landing the strike? Well, wherever they need to be. If you can land the strike here, fantastic. This is also fine. You're cutting through his arms on your way to the shrine cord. What you do not want to have is the hands at an awkward angle. So sort of here. Because here, all I can do is press on him, I can't cut. No matter how much I want to, I can't. So, the hands have to come round and lever the blade down. Lever the blade through his hands into the shrine cord. Any questions about that? Okay? Just very shortly, try that one again. Just for the same part and have started adding on. Can borrow you again, Marcus? You can, of course, add more things onto this. Here, comes in, bam. From here, yes, you can go slice the face, withdraw, change through. You can have fun with it. Once you've taken off his hands, he's kind of screwed. So, if you can use this as a basis for inventing your own follow-ups, fantastic. It gets you thinking. In terms of any of the historical sources for doing a crump paw from the left like this, we see it specified in the manual by Jakob Suter. Jakob Suter, his definition of the crump paw is coming down with the short edge from the left. So, although he's a couple of hundred years later, there is still evidence within the tradition for this kind of crump paw. So I feel justified. So the next bit. Go and point the ground in front of us, barrier guard on the one side through his hands. So, we now have the barrier guard on the other side. So, I've taken off his hands, his friend comes along. What I do now, again, I start off by making him want to hit me. I proffer my hands. I give him this target. Because if the choice is to attack to my head, to my body, or to my hands, this is a really obvious target. So I give it to him. I've taken off this guy's hands, that's cool. Here. He comes in with that strike. What I do, I skip out to the side. I simply knock that to ground with my flat. Within the codex Döbringer, its definition of the crump paw is a strike with a flat, followed up with a long edge slice. Nice and fast, it's very cool. So you can do that from here. It's quite nice. It works very effectively. However, with this interpretation of flourish, we can also do something else which is quite fun. From here, uncross, you can strike into the hands or the face, and then thrust right in there. upsetting. So what we're doing is just from here, skip to the side, into the other barrier guard, uncross the plough, and thrust. So, you can do the crump paw with one of your edges. That's fine. But if you do the crump paw with one of the edges, it makes that motion a lot more difficult. So if you do the crump paw with the flat, you're following the advice within that particular manual, and it also makes that action really smooth. So, with a new partner, someone you don't normally see, so try and find someone from a different group, maybe from a different country if you can. Find someone new. Give them a target. Make it really tempting. And when they attack your hands, take the hands away. Take their hands and stab them. Point of note, doing this with a sequence like that works differently depending on what length of sword you have. If you've got a shorter weapon, when the attack comes in, the best target is his hands, because that's the best thing I can reach. If I try to go for anything apart from the hands, with a shorter weapon, I open myself up. So with a shorter weapon, keep the hands close and strike his hands. With a longer weapon, like one of the Döbringers, attacking the hand is really difficult. So with a longer weapon like this, you can reach out further. So, feel free to adapt this one, depending on the length of your weapon. If you've got a longer weapon, hit the head. If you've got a shorter weapon, hit the hands. Thank you very much. Okay. Just one other point about this. How do you lever the hands? Well, if the attack comes in, if I effectively leave my pommel where it is and try to push round my pommel, I'm driving it with all the force of this shoulder, but nothing else. Attack comes in, it's not very good. It takes his sword to the side, but that's about it. If I leave my right hand where it is at the cross and try and pull my pommel round, it's even worse. It's not as fast, I get hit. But if I pull the pommel, that gets the tip moving. Once the right hand is above the left hand, I can push the right hand across. So, I get the pommel moving, that gets the tip moving, and then I push the whole weapon across. Doing it this way, I've got a fast and very responsive strike that can keep me safe. Attack comes in, it's powerful, it takes his sword all the way to the side, to the ground. It's difficult for him to do something else afterwards. Attack comes in. Here, it's perfect. I can hand press so his sword stays on the ground. I can slice across the forearms. I can take the face. I can come round, strike with the short edge. I can do that by pulling the pommel to get the tip moving, and then throwing the right hand across. So pull and push. Start by pulling and then push. So, again, with the same partner, just give this a very brief try. Strike the appropriate target for the length of your weapon and try the pull-push mechanic for the hands. So, what has just happened, we've done point the ground in front of us, shrinked. On both sides, plough. The next part is plough on the other side and ox. So, because someone's just attacked me, I've gone strike, hands, stab. Marcus is now really upset. I've just stabbed his friend. So, if you put the sword on your left shoulder, it'll come up and into it. So, I've just done this. I stabbed this fellow. Marcus is going to strike up to me or to my arms, anywhere here. He wants to punish me for stabbing his friend. That's cool. I can now use the rest as the next bit of the flourish. So I've gone plough, thrust, plough, thrust. Okay? So, you want to get your long edge and your cross guard low and to the side. You don't want to try and put this aside with the flat. You can be hitting the fingers. So catch it here, wind up and thrust. So, here, here, thrust, plough, wind. If you can, try and catch his blade with your cross guard here. If you can catch that, fantastic. If you can lift and push him down, it's great fun. So, from this thrust, from this open position, he comes in with his attack. Okay, again. Don't let him hit you. Just drop into plough, get the bind going, point towards his face, up through ox. When you do your plough, you want to keep your point towards his face. This is not useful. It is a sort of plough. Sort of ish. It stops him from hitting me, but it's not very useful. To wind up to ox to do the thrust now, I've got to come closer to his sword, and I've got to do something very difficult. Try and avoid that. Discipline yourself to move your hands to where they need to be, but keep the point towards him. So I come down here on it, and then I can come in with the thrust. The footwork in this sequence does not matter. What does matter, don't be hit. So as long as you can come from your thrust and not be hit, it's good. When you wind up and do your thrust, do so in a safe manner. But I could wind up like so and thrust at him. It'd be lovely, but I'm open. So with this sequence, the details depend on your unique situation. Each time you run through this, it might be slightly different. And that's cool, just like sparring. Just from here, don't let him hit you. Keep the point close to him, and then thrust up into ox. Any questions like that? Happy enough? Okay, again take a new partner, someone from a different group, different country. Practice. So, that's just a nice simple one. And the principle that is illustrated there is that if your hands are forwards, they become the target. You have to be able to defend your hands and your arms whilst they're out forwards. This is something that's quite important in this early manual, because it talks about how you might often fight against 4 or 6. It probably just means you have to know how to fight and defend yourself against several opponents. And if you're fighting against several opponents, you cannot just deal with one of them. It's excellent, if you can do this sort of thing, fantastic. But if you stay here, there's another 3 or 4 people, not a good position. You want to keep your hands close to you, she calls defend yourself, different angles. The further away your hands are from you, the more they have to move to defend a different direction. So keep your hands close, and if you are caught out like this, that's cool. Defend yourself, stab, get ready for the next opponent. So, I'm going to need you, and another volunteer. Fantastic, thank you. What's your name?
William.
William. Yeah. Excellent. I'll try and remember that. Yes, please. So, what we've done so far, point the ground in front of us, barrier guard, plough on both sides, ox. We have ox on the other side, and the two treho to finish off. We're going to do them both here. So, I just stab someone, Marcus attacks me. I defend in the plough, wind up, and stab him in the face. Awesome. But as I am stabbing him in the face, his friend attacks. How do I defend against this? Well, I simply move from ox in his face, and I hide behind it. So, from here, one person attacks, here, stab, change the ox. This doesn't have to be the world's best ox. It doesn't have to be picture perfect. It doesn't have to look wonderful. It stops you from being hit. Get your sword in the way. So, from here, stab, I don't have time. Just get in the way. And then from there, step to the side, cut, step further to the side, across the face. So, we've gone into this ox to stab, something else comes in, we hide under another ox, another side, and then one face. Side of the head, face. So, don't worry about how lovely your ox looks. Don't worry about details. Just get it high above the head, in between your head and his sword. Don't be hit. So, you'll be working in groups of 3. You'll start off in this position. One person will attack the arms, catch it, wind up thrust. As I'm thrusting, he comes in. Hide under the ox. Keep yourself safe. Come to the side, strike the side of the head, front of the head. Any questions about that? Happy enough? Give it a try. Groups of 3 and try and pick people. Okay, so unfortunately we're almost out of time. But what we have done is gone through the whole of the flourish. Point the ground in front of us, barrier guard. On both sides, plough. On both sides, ox, on both sides, treho, on both sides. So because we have chosen this particular method of putting together the guard positions as described, we've come up with a sequence that teaches us various one-on-one skills and also a couple of skills for defending yourself against 1 or 2, maybe even 3 opponents. So, the kind of key principles here. If you're fighting lots of people, keep your hands in close. Don't strike any further than you have to. If you strike too far out, you're making yourself a target, and also it's a long distance to come back to defend yourself. If you do lots of short movements, you can still work quite cleverly in close to your body. You're keeping your hands safe, you're keeping your arms safe, you're covering your torso, and it's easier to come from here to parry here, something here. You can hide under your sword much more easily if your hands are in close. So against multiple opponents, consider staying in close. Obviously, if you're against multiple opponents and one of them is not paying attention, leap at him, cut him down, and then play the safe game again. If your opponent's ever not paying attention, just give him what he deserves. Cut him and make it hurt. So, what we're going to do, just to finish with it, if you want to stand over here and take a video clip, we're all going to face this direction and we're all going to do the flourish together as one block. Okay? So taking face, and everyone face the camera. Sword in the shoulder. And cut the ground in front. Shrine cut another side. Shrine cut another side. Plough. Thrust. Plough. Ox. Thrust. Ox another side. Thrust strike. And cross strike. And back to shoulder. Alright. Thank you very much. Here you go. Don't shout. So, that is one of my interpretations of this flourish. I have 3 or 4. If you give me enough alcohol in the pub tonight, I might come up with a 5th. So, we'll have a go.
How many pints?
If at any point during the event you're interested in seeing one of my other ideas for how to use the flourish, just come up and ask me. I'm quite happy to discuss it. If you've got any ideas, come up and discuss them. I'd love to hear other ideas. But the thing we can take away from this, to take back to our own club, is simply by picking some guard positions at random. You can work out a sequence of moving between them that teaches skills. So it's quite a useful little training exercise for doing with your club or with some friends, just something out of the ordinary. You're not working on this play from this part of this manuscript. You're just going, right, well, if we start with the point of ground in front of us, shrine cuts, plough, ox, treble. What can we come up with? You can set it as an exercise for yourself, your students, your friends. Just see what people come up with different guard positions. So, does anyone have any questions about what we've covered in this lesson? Happy enough?
Yes.
Right, in that case, thank you very much for taking part. I hope you enjoyed it.